This topic is essential for PMP exam because it helps measure project performance, predict future outcomes, and make informed decisions. You can expect questions in exam that will test your ability to calculate these EVM metrics. In order to understand this topic, you first need to get familiarized with these 12 terms. Understanding these terms is not only critical for passing your PMP exams, but is also helpful in managing your projects effectively. So the first term is budget at completion. Budget at completion, or BAC, is the total budget allocated for completing all the work on the project. So we can simply say that BAC is the total planned budget. For example, if a project is planned to cost $1 million by the time it is finished, then its BAC is $1 million. Next term is earned value. Earned value shows the value of work actually completed to date. It is expressed in terms of budget. What earned value shows is the value of completed work in the project. For example, if your project has a budget of $1 million and 40% of all the work and activities have been finished at some point, then we can simply say that the value earned is 40% of the allocated budget, or 40% of BAC, which is $400,000 in this case. Next term is planned value. So planned value is the amount of money planned to be spent on the project work by a specific time. In this example, you can see that the budget of the project is $1 million and it is planned that 50% of the work will be done by the end of 6 months. So as per the planning, the planned value after 6 months will be $500,000 or 50% of BAC. Next term is actual cost. Actual cost is simply the amount of money spent so far on the project. So, for example, if a project's timeline is 12 months and by the end of month 2, we calculate the actual cost incurred in the project, and in that case, if it is $80,000 or $50,000, whatever is the cost, it is called the actual cost at that time. Next term is cost variance. Cost variance is simply the difference between earned value and actual cost. This term is helpful to determine whether the project is over budget or under budget. When we see that the value earned from the project is greater than the cost incurred in the project will be under budget. On the contrary, if the cost incurred on the project is more than the work done or value created on the project will be over budget. Now, here is an example of cost variance. A project has an earned value of $450,000 and an actual cost of $500,000. What is the cost variance? Here we can see that the earned value is less than the actual cost. Therefore, the answer would be negative. So answer is minus $50,000. This indicates that the project is over budget. Now, next term is schedule variance. It is the difference between earned value and planned value of the work performed. Like cost variance, here schedule variance shows us whether the project is ahead of the schedule, behind schedule, or is on the track. So this term is similar to the term we did in the past. So the negative value shows that the project is behind schedule, whereas the positive value shows that the project is ahead of the schedule. Here is an example of schedule variance. A project's EV is $550,000 and PV is $600,000. Calculate the SV and determine if the project is ahead or behind schedule. Here again, we can see that the earned value is less than the planned value. Therefore, the schedule variance would be negative. So this negative 50,000 shows that the project is behind schedule. Now, next term is cost performance index. It shows the cost efficiency in a project. It is a ratio of earned value to actual cost. So if the value of CPI is greater than 1, then earned value is greater than actual cost. In that case, our project has a cost efficiency, which is good for the project. On the contrary, if actual cost is greater than earned value, then the value of CPI would be less than 1, which is not a good indicator for the project. Here is an example. If a project's AC, or actual cost, is $200,000 and EV is $180,000, what is the CPI and what does it signify? So without even solving the question, we can simply see that EV is less than AC. In this case, obviously CP would be less than 1. So the project here is over budget. 0.9 value of the CPI shows that for every $1 spent on the project, we are getting a value of $0.9. This shows that we are not creating enough value. Therefore, the project is over budget. Next term is schedule performance index, SPI. Like CPI, SPI shows us schedule efficiency. It is the ratio of earned value to planned value. And similar in the CPI's case, here we can see that the value greater than 1 is a good parameter for the project because it shows that the value earned is greater than the planned value, whereas less than 1 value is not a good indicator for the project. Here is an example of SPI. A project has an EV of $550,000, a PV of $500,000, and an AC of $600,000. What is the SPI and what does it signify? Here we can see that to calculate SPI, we just need EV and PV. So AC is not required here. And since EV is greater than PV, therefore the value of SPI would be greater than 1. So correct answer is A, SPI equals to 1.1. This shows that the project is progressing faster than the planned schedule. Next term is estimate at completion. Estimate at completion or EAC forecasts the total cost of the project at completion based on current performance. So why do we need EAC? It is because when the budget is allocated at the beginning of the project and with time different parameters are used to calculate the progress, to calculate the cost of the project. In this case, EAC helps us to determine whether the project would require additional budget or what would be the total budget of the project at the time of completion. So this formula helps us to predict the cost of the total project. Here in this example, we can see that the BAC is $1 million, EV is $600,000, and AC is $700,000. If the current cost performance continues, what is the EAC? Here you can see that earned value is $600,000, which is less than the actual cost. In this case, our CPI would be less than 1. This shows that our CPI or our project is going over budget. So you can see that we first computed CPI using the data given in the question, and then with CPI and BAC we calculated EAC, which is greater than the allocated budget. This is because the project is incurring additional cost than planned. Here is another example of EAC. A project's BAC is $1.2 million, AC is $800,000, and EV is $900,000. Calculate the EAC assuming future work will be performed at the planned rate. So this question is similar to the one we have just solved. You can pause the video and solve the question and check the answer later on. So the answer is $1 million. Here you can see, although the answer is calculated using a slightly different formula, we can see that since EV is greater than AC, this shows that the project is on track in terms of cost. So next term is estimate to complete. This term represents the additional cost needed to finish the remaining work of a project based on current performance. The formula is simple, ETC equals to EAC minus actual cost. Here is an example of ETC. If a project's EAC is $1.2 million and the current AC is $800,000, what is the ETC? The answer is $400,000. It's a simple formula. Now next term is variance at completion. Variance at completion is the difference between budget at completion and estimate at completion. So this simple formula shows whether the project is over budget or under budget at completion. Here is an example of VAC. You are managing the construction of a new building. The initial budget or BAC was set at $5 million. Due to various challenges, the revised estimate to complete the project EAC is now $5.5 million. The VAC in this scenario would be, answer is simple, it would be minus $500,000 since the estimated cost at completion has increased. Now next term is to complete performance index. It is a measure that calculates the cost performance required to achieve a specified management goal, such as staying within budget or latest revised estimate. Here is an example of TCPI. You are managing a software development project with a BAC of $1 million. Currently, the project has an EV of $400,000 and an AC of $500,000. If you want to determine the cost performance needed to complete the project within the original budget, what you would do? So in this question, we are asked to determine the cost performance. This formula is important factor to show whether what needs to be done to stay on the budget. So this 1.2 indicates that the project needs to perform 20% better than planned to meet the original budget. Now, here are some questions where you can develop the understanding of the terms we just discussed. So, in this question, you can see that majority of the data is given in a very simple manner. In exams, you can expect that these data will be given indirectly in a scenario-based question. So, first we'll solve these questions, and then I will also try to make a video on scenario-based questions so that you can practice further. So, here you can pause the video and solve the question. So, the right answer is a. CPI equals to 0.89, EAC equals to $1.123596 million. Here's the solution. Now the next question is about SPI and to determine whether the project is behind or ahead of schedule. You can use SPI formula and find the value. So the right answer here is B. SPI equals to 0.86. It shows that the project is behind schedule. Again, next question is about finding EAC, estimated completion. As we discussed earlier, that a CPI less than 1 is not good for the project. So the budgeted completion here is $2 million. Even without calculating, we can guess that EAC would be greater than BAC. Here, right answer is B. Next question is about ETC, estimate to complete. You can again use the formula of ETC to find the value. There is a simple tip for you. In order to find ETC, you will first need to find actual cost and estimated completion. So these two terms will be used in ETC formula. You can pause the video now and calculate the value of ETC. So the right answer is B. ETC equals to $2,250,000. Thank you for your time. That's all from this video.